What's up guys? Thanks for tuning in to Be a Metal Fabricator. In today's video, I'm going to show you 3 different ways of how to do curved flanges. Now sometimes you need this for patch panels, door skins, cab corners, different stuff like that. So I'm going to show you some simple ways of how to get that done. So let's jump into it. The first way I'm going to show you to do it, which is my personal favorite, is the bead roller. You might not have a bead roller, but I'll show you other ways on how to do it without it. But the bead roller works really good. So let me make sure I got everything set up right. Okay, so the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to break the metal. What I mean by break the metal is put a little crease along this line that we got. So let me put this in the bead roller and I'll show you. So I have the flat Durlin die on the bottom and the art die on the top. This is a Durlin die as well, but the metal one works just as good. So just going to tighten that in there, a little bit of pressure, and I'm going to lift up on this panel right here. And as I lift up, I'm going to go ahead and draw this panel in. That's going to put a little crease on that line, and that's what we're looking for, just to break that metal so that metal bends right where we want it to. I'm going to go ahead and run that through one more time just to get that flange to lift up a little bit more. A little more pressure up and follow it through. Okay, and you can see, since I've done that, this panel's wanting to curve down this way. Maybe you can see it like that. So what that's telling me is that this is going to have to shrink. Now this usually happens on an outside curve like this. You need to shrink this panel to get it up and keep everything flat. So let's go ahead and stick this in the shrinker stretcher. A little shrink along the edge here. Okay, I'm going to hammer and dolly that up just a little bit. So now I'm going to use my hammer and dolly just to lift this edge up a little bit. I want this flange to pretty much go straight where I need it. So I'm just going to put a dolly on the inside, start tapping this all around there. So I'm getting some waves in this panel right here, and what that's telling me is that it needs to shrink. So let's stick it back in the shrinker. Okay, so now we got a 90-degree flange around that curve. It looks real good. Could use a little bit of planishing on the edge, but I think that's good enough. The next way to put a flange in a curved panel like this is by hammer form. So I have a hammer form made up right here, and I have reference marks on it. A lot of times you'll screw or bolt your 2 pieces together in a hammer form to make sure everything stays nice and straight and nothing moves. But I have reference marks on this one because I'm not too worried about it. So I'm just going to line everything up here, line up my reference marks and my line for my flange. Then I'm going to clamp this to the table. Okay, I got everything lined up and clamped down, so now what we're going to do is just hammer this down nice and slowly. That piece lifted up because it still needs to shrink in here. But at this point, we could just stick it in the shrinker stretcher if we want to shrink it a little more. So that's one way to do it right there. Then the third way to do this is just simply with a pair of pliers. We're going to start by doing the same thing basically that we did with the bead roller. We're going to break the steel right along our line right here. Now this isn't the best way to do it, but this way does work. You can get it done this way. So you just slowly bend upward on that line. This is putting a little break right there. Okay, we're gonna have to shrink that to get this to sit straight like we want it to. Let's keep bending this up. We got some more shrinking to do. After a little bit of hammer and dulling, you got a nice, beautiful flange there. And it looks really good. Well, thank you guys for joining me, a metal fabricator. If you guys learned something, hit that like button and that subscribe. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Until next time, we'll see you later.